Remember how Rasmussen has their own little channel, and and while Benny Johnson's got 5 million subscribers, Rasmussen, the polling group that basically keeps Trump afloat in his mind, has their own little channel, has 127,000 subscribers, and this video I'm going to show you, it's only about an hour old, but it's got about 1,300 views. I'm going to jump in a little piece of this because it's a long one. This guy, instead of just reading the polls, he's going over some of the polling that they showed and the reaction on the right to it. And this is called Must Watch. It's not working. The right must change course now. I'm sorry. I'm starting to get the feeling that Trump's numbers suck. That there is a real issue with how they're taking his stomping on personal freedoms. And they weren't, some of them anyways, weren't pretending to support those things. They're all in.
That this poll is blowing things up behind the scenes, a gut punch to the conservative movement because...
Oh boy.
Well, let me just read some of this. A shocking number of young Trump voters support socialist policies, a Democrat socialist president in 2028, and even UN supervision of America, according to a new
yeah, you heard that right.
Poll from Rasmussen Reports and Justin Haskins. The stuff in here is incredible. 76% of young voters agree that major industries like healthcare, energy, and big tech should be nationalized to give more control and equity to the people, including a strong majority of young Republicans, over 70%. 53% would like to see a Democratic socialist candidate win the 2028 presidential election, including a huge amount, 35% of those who said they voted for Trump in 2024. 55% said they would support a law that would confiscate Americans' excess wealth, including things like second homes, luxury cars, private boats, in order to help young people buy a home for the first time. Absolutely horrible stuff. There was even...
I don't know, Chad. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Yeah. Yeah. So you can understand, right? That was a poll. That was an actual poll Rasmussen put together. It was the other guy that works for him, so he was reading the results of it. It wasn't his poll to put together. But this, and by the way, when they're talking about like socialist programs, what they mean is like student loan forgiveness, right? That kind of stuff. By the way, when while everybody, yeah, here it is. Let's see. Hey, remember when Trump said, we're gonna get in there and get rid of that student loan forgiveness. We're gonna dump on that shit, buddy. We're gonna get rid of that stuff. Remember that? If Biden wants to try to forgive everybody's loans, that's not fair. I must not have Facebook up in my chat. Yeah, I do. That would be you. There you go. And remember all that stuff? Trump administration resumes student loan forgiveness for some borrowers, trade group says. The Trump administration has restarted a student loan forgiveness under a program that's been partially paused since July, a trade group told CNBC. The U.S. Department of Education said this summer that it was temporarily not canceling the debt of student loan borrowers enrolled in income-based repayment plans while it responded to court orders. Well, guess what? The Trump administration has resumed forgiving student debt for some borrowers enrolled in a program that's been partially paused since July. Thanks, Joe Biden. Borrowers who have been in repayment for decades and are eligible for debt cancellation under the Income-Based Repayment Plan, or IBR, are getting notices that they will soon receive relief. Now, why is that? Trump tried to stop it, and what they were trying to do was stop it long enough that these people, when they had their loans repaid, or forgiven, that they would have to still pay taxes on the forgiven loan, so that the Trump administration could budget for that tax revenue to make their numbers look better. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's December is the date. let's see, 200 years, depending on the age, to pause, many students, borrowers who've been repaid for decades were eligible for forgiveness, especially frustrating bind. Higher education experts. That's because IBR is the only income-driven repayment plan is still available that leads to loan erasure. Pause this. The department said that the 8th U.S. Circuit Court decision in February, which blocked the SAVE plan, had other impacts on student loan repayment. Under the SAVE plan, certain periods during which borrowers postpone their payments would count towards their forgiveness timeline. With SAVE blocked, borrowers no longer get credit during those forbearances, like COVID and shit like that, or between jobs if they, the time when they leave school and when they find a job, or if they're laid off, right? Central to the recent, and this is the primary reasoning for the timing of it. Still used to do not resolve the AFT litigation. Yes, as of 31st, there's 74,510 person backlog of borrowers waiting for their PSLF determination. They need to have it by December, or they have to pay taxes on the forgiven loan, like it's income. And the court gave them relief because that time is coming up. So, and Trump, you didn't hear, he didn't come out and take credit for that, did he? Just, did you guys, and by the way, anybody else see that, know that? I mean, it was a relatively minor story. And I can understand why they wouldn't want any of it, anybody to talk about it, but, that's, one of the things. Oh, the video audio is too low. I'm trying to bring it up. Or my audio is too low. No, it seems all right. Check it at 1. Check it at 2. Hello, check. All right.
Trump voters, only 33% of them said no when offered a list of options of what to set an income cap at. So even Trump voters in the 18 to 39-year-old bracket want incomes capped. That's pretty socialistic. And so the trend, in my opinion, isn't that these people who voted for Trump are more conservative or more capitalistic or any of that. They basically want the system burned down because...
Right. Yes. Accelerationists. Exactly. And they don't care who gets hurt in the interim. This idea that the Trump voters, by and large, want a benefit to the country. And by the way, a bunch of them want it to burn down too because they think there's going to be some sort of, majestic dictator-like overlord that will take care of all their problems. Sorry, no Substack is up. I will check that. Beg your pardon. It's always something. Let's see if we get this guy over here. I don't know. Well, all right. Let's continue.
We aren't offering a better situation for them or speaking their language. This must change. Well, maybe they should speak our language. Maybe they should just buck up and become capitalists. Good luck with that. It's not going to win these people over. They're just going to play video games. If these problems aren't fixed,
I think the solution always in these circumstances is to immediately assume loser status on behalf of an entire generation of people and not reflect on your system at all.
The society that these people here build is going to be completely unrecognizable. It is not going to be what you grew up with. It absolutely isn't. I mean, these people...
Yeah, we're not going to have leaded gas and long lines at gas stations and nuclear proliferation. And stop me when I get to the thing that you'll miss the most.
Don't even believe in capitalism. Positive support for capitalism in Gallup numbers, they track this every year, is down to 54%, the lowest it's ever been, and it's driven by these people. They don't even know what capitalism is, and obviously the school system isn't teaching them correctly. But can you blame that on them? I don't think you can.
No, I blame it on you and Glenn Beck and all these other people who've taught them that capitalism isn't just a simple market-based mechanic for buying and selling and trading of goods and land and other elements, and is actually some sort of religious right that you have to apply to everything, lest it has no meaning whatsoever, and that, poor kids need to bootstrap, otherwise they really won't know the value of a nickel.
But it gets even worse. It's not just the fact that they have problems, they have mental...
By the way, everybody at home, are your nipples hard yet? They should be. I mean, this kind of information when you start polling maggots, and this is what you're getting. My nipples could cut glass. If we were trapped in a submarine, I could get us out.
Their dating scenes messed up. They're not capitalistic. They want drastic solutions to the problems that have been dumped in their lap. Well, one of the problems is that they don't even want the same things on a gender basis. Look at these numbers out of NBC News. On the left side, you have how people define success, a definition of success.
Okay, so, yeah, and I'm guessing 3 or 4% wash. So basically, the having children's a wash, able to retire early, and being, oh, I see, they're different setups.
Among Gen Z men who say they voted for Trump. And that is
Gen Z men who say they voted for Trump. And if you could say one thing about Gen Z is that they love answering truthfully to online polling.
Most Gen Z men did vote for Trump. So most of these men, these young men, say that definition of success for them is having children, 34%, financial independence, 33%, fulfilling job or career, 30%. You would expect a young man to have these ambitions, but being married is up there at 29%. So 34% having children, 29% being married. But then look at the other side, women who voted for Kamala Harris. And that's most women. Most women under 30 did vote for Kamala Harris. And overwhelmingly, what they want is a fulfilling job or career.
Oh, my God. Wait a minute. Wait. You do realize that on this side, the 34% having children requires no mechanical input on their part other than whereas the woman is actually responsible for pushing it out of her body. Also, age difference. These are Gen Z. Hold on. This is Gen Z. Are these Gen Z women? Right. Okay.
They want to be seen. They want to make a splash. They want people to look up to them as a strong, stunning, and brave career woman. And okay, I applaud that. My wife has a great career in education.
It's adorable. I mean, every night when she comes home, I go, tell us all about how amazing your work was, lady. Yeah, and then we sit across the dinner table and grumble.
Also raised 4 children and took a break in order to do it. But this is really strong. This is what they want. They want to have money to do things, 46%, having emotional stability, 39%, using talents and resources to help others, 37%, financial.
This is, by the way, I would like to say for the record, one thing, you can almost tell, like, what you have to strive for versus what you expect should be relatively easy as far as, like, important for personal definition of success. You're not successful if you have children. That's just something that's part of who you are. It's not like, oh, success, I had a kid, because women can have a kid without a dude being around, is the idea. So it's not that you don't get points in the world currently for having children. You should, but you don't. And also, being married isn't a status thing. It's a lot easier for a woman who wants to be married than it is for a guy who wants to be married. So these are just an inverse of the things that are easy for people to get and things that are hard for them to get. And the reason these are flip-flopped is because in our society, it's harder for women to have a fulfilling career and the ability to have fun and do what they want because of, Rapey McPussygrabber out there and his cohorts and the Matt Gateses of the fucking world. So when you say, what do you want to achieve? You think of the things that you will have to try and achieve. I'll be a success. You're not really a success if you do things that you can do naturally that don't really require much effort. In the case of women, in most cases, being married and having children, it's not a ton of work. It's fairly easy, even temporarily. Men, on the other hand, it's more work, right? And it's considered aspirational.
Independence, 32%. Okay, some of these are noble and good. Some of these are a little self-centered. Some of these might be a siren song of things that are being presented to them as what they should want by the feministic college system and the way they've been brought up and the way that media and entertainment present women.
That's right. I blame Netflix.
Okay, fine, maybe. But look at the bottom. What do these women absolutely not want? They don't want to get married and they don't want to have children.
Nope. No. All right, Mr. fucking pollster. That is not. It says important to personal definition of success. It sounds to me like Gen Z girls are a lot more literal about what the word success means is career-oriented. Maybe because they think that's the way they should think, because generations before them weren't even allowed to do that similar thing. Or maybe it's because that's what they think the questioner is asking. And then I guarantee there's some in this one that the idea that Gen Z men have their highest priority is having children is a bunch of Elon Musk like proto-creationist blather.
They don't think that those are definitions of success.
Right, because they can do them with quite little effort.
And I've heard people on Twitter tell me, well, that's just the patriarchy, and why should these people be domestic slaves? It's like, okay, if that's your opinion, it's a messed up society. And in many of these people's cases, they will get married. They will have children. But it will be deferred into their late 30s. They're just deferring this stuff. And, their selections aren't going to be as good. They're not going to have as many children. And in any case, when young men and young women are so far apart, this is a very, very, very important sign that our society is deeply and fundamentally jacked up. And we can all...
He had an edit there. I don't know why.
Conjecture about the reasons, postmodernism, Marxism.
Yeah, I blame postmodernism and Marxism, and it has nothing to do with social media and Twitter. It has nothing to do with Elon Musk directing all the boys in one direction and college effectively becoming a feminization exercise, which is the argument that they always make it on that way, simply because what they want you to do is sit down and learn.
The influence of people in media, it's everywhere. But this is the damage. And it gets even worse. Economically, it's almost hopeless for Americans. A lot of people don't track this because why would the establishment track wealth inequality? But
look at this, man. Look who's suddenly giving a shit about wealth inequality.
Are problems. Massive, massive problems with wealth inequality. People track the Gini coefficient. I don't know if that's the right one. This is my own metric here that I believe shows very, very, very clearly that there has been a systematic murder of the American dream. You can almost pinpoint it exactly on the chart. What this chart tracks is per capita government debt. That means divide up all the government debt by the number of Americans. You can cut it different ways. You'll probably have the same trend, if you did it by taxpayer or whatever. So this is your personal debt burden divided by the median real income. What is the income of the exact middle human in America? And you can look at the debt and say, wow, it's spiraling out of control. Well, it would be fine if incomes were rising to meet it, but that is not the case. And so you can see that this ratio has just absolutely, absolutely exploded.
Jesus Christ. You know what we're watching? We're watching this motherfucker get blue-pilled. Rasmussen just got blue-pilled. And I just watched a video a couple days ago about how like the death of the blue pill and how it was a big mistake and all that kind of shit. Good Lord. This is your graph using your statistics as your idea? Oh, there you go, AJ. Middle human. I don't know. Just because he doesn't know how to talk. But think about this. Like the guy who almost single-handedly from a polling standpoint elevated Trump. If there's a Charlie Kirk of polling, it's fucking Rasmussen. And it's that particular dude, Michael, what's his name? Mark Mitchell. Carrying Trump's testicles everywhere they went, trying to give him the best wording on the questions, to guarantee him better polling numbers, to really lift him up and make, artificially inflate support through their languaging. And now, good Lord. Let's see. It's misleading because it includes the billionaire class, which used the ratio upwards. Yeah, but it's not going to affect the per capita that much because there are billionaires in this country, but not that many. And even still, like, and this is against the mean. It's the point isn't whether his graph is genuine or effective or whatever. The point is the realization he is coming to is legit. Like, think about, because it's not, none of this is news to any of us, but to fucking Rasmussen to start going, uh-oh, guys, they're on to us. Is basically they're starting to figure out that the red pill was all bullshit. Hold on, I need that's what I need. I call for it right now. There you go.
That was just bullshit, Joel.
Oh yeah,